have less than 8 seconds to get your attention. In fact, right now you're probably hovering your thumb over your phone screen, or you have a finger on the mouse of your computer, wondering if you're going to click off onto one of the other videos that YouTube is suggesting for you, because you don't know if this is going to be worth your time or not. But stop! You are on the right video, because in the next few minutes, I am going to show you 4 ways to hook your audience from the first few sentences that you say when giving a speech. And later in the video, I am going to prove to you why this is true. You're not just going to take my word for it. I am going to show you a conversation with the 2015 world champion of public speaking who talks a little bit about the power of introductions. But before I get to those 4 tips of how you can hook your audience with an introduction, I want to share 2 things that you should not do when giving a speech. Now, I see this so often, especially at weddings. When you walk in front of the crowd and you take a microphone, if you're speaking with a microphone, avoid doing this. Hello? Whoa, that was really loud. So many people, when they first take a microphone and they start talking, they're shooken up because they hear their voice very loud, almost as if it's a surprise. Friends, it's a microphone. It's supposed to make your voice loud. My suggestion here is if you have the opportunity beforehand to do a mic test or say a few words holding a microphone, you can get that shock value out because you will hear your voice being amplified in a big way. But even if you don't have an opportunity to speak with the mic at an event where there is a microphone included, don't be surprised when you hear your voice really loud. That is the whole purpose of a microphone, but I can't tell you how many times I've seen people start speeches that way and it comes across as very amateur. The second thing to avoid doing when beginning a speech is to simply start with introducing yourself. Hi everyone, for those who don't know me, my name is Wade and I'm the best man of this wedding, and I'm excited to tell you about my friend Jared. People know you're the best man. If there was an MC, that person probably already introduced you as the best man. There may even be programs on the tables that have your name as best man and the fact you're going to give a speech. But even if this isn't a wedding, any sort of function, you don't have to start your speech with an introduction, simply saying your name, talking about why you are there. If it's absolutely necessary, you include that information, which I bet you it's not, but if it is, you can include that later on. Remember, people's attention spans are very short. You only have a small window to grab their attention. So rather than waste that first few precious seconds introducing yourself with a pretty generic introduction, capture their attention in a big way. So how do you capture the audience's attention in a big way? Well, I'm going to give you 4 specific ideas, and each of these is incredibly powerful if you deploy it in your next speech. The first way you can have a powerful introduction and set your speech head and shoulders above most others is by hitting them with a powerful statistic. The average human attention span is 8 seconds. 80% of videos on social media are viewed without the sound on. Only 13% of employees say that they actually feel engaged at the workplace. Each of these statistics is powerful, they are surprising, and they set the tone for what your speech is going to be about, but you've caught the audience's attention right away with something that makes them think. It also disrupts the norm. As I mentioned, what most amateur speakers do is come up to the stage and introduce themselves, have some sort of formality or awkward banter about why they're there. You don't need to do that. You can jump straight into the speech and have a statistic that draws the audience in, and then you continue your speech, which adds additional context to frame that and make it all join together. A couple of things worth mentioning if you are using statistics. These may be obvious, but ensure that you can back up your statistic, that you know the source of the data, where that's coming from, and that it's not some random website online, that there's actually multiple sources that back up what you're saying, because you may be challenged on that stat afterward because it's the first thing you started your speech with. And the second is that the statistic should actually be related to what you're talking about. So it's great to say the average human has an 8-second attention span, but if you're then talking about a sport like football or golf, and it doesn't really relate at all to that original statement, it was pointless and disjointed, and it's not going to have that cohesiveness. Another way to hook the audience right from the beginning of a speech is to ask a thought-provoking question. Are you happy? What does success mean to you? If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? Questions like this are powerful because they don't just disrupt the norm and give an audience some variety or a unique speech to listen to, but they get the audience's brains thinking. By asking a question, you are asking the audience to participate mentally in the speech. And right from the get-go, if they start that thinking process, they are much more likely to stay engaged throughout the rest of the presentation. But as mentioned before, it's incredibly important to make sure that this question relates to what the rest of the speech is about. You can ask a fun, thought-provoking question, but if it has nothing to do with the presentation you've put forward, there's that disjointedness and it's not going to go over well. Another powerful speech introduction is telling a story. Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools we have as public speakers because they draw audiences in, they invoke imagination, they allow our audience to tap into their creativity and to visualize what we are saying. But many stories come midway through speeches, and I say, why not start with a story right off the get-go? There's a couple reasons this is powerful. First off, when you start speaking, you typically have the undivided attention of your audience. People have started clapping, they're waiting for you to say something, and if you dive right into a story, you will have more people's ears and eyes on you than if you're 20 minutes into a speech, and that's when you start telling the story. Of course, the story should be related to the greater speech, but by starting that off, and especially if your story is humorous and it's going to get some laughter from the audience, that is powerful because if the audience finds themselves laughing within the first few seconds or minutes of your speech, they are going to relax. They're going to think this is going to be an interesting speech. I can't wait for the rest of it. And you are going to get a lot of confidence. When you hear the audience laughing in the first few minutes, it's this instant boost of confidence for you on stage, and that's going to help you throughout the rest of the speech. My final idea for a powerful way to start a speech is by doing something unique. My favorite speech introduction is by Sarah Kay and her TED Talk, If I Should Have a Daughter. Sarah comes out in front of the audience and she begins telling a poem. The poem lasts 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and as soon as she says the final word of the poem, the entire audience stands up, gives her a standing ovation. I'm going to link to Sarah's speech within this video. Do yourself a favor and check it out. Even just watch the first 4 minutes, the introduction, and you will get chills. You will know what I mean in the sense that this is a powerful way to grab the audience's attention. But what you may also notice is that this approach, it's a little bit high risk, high reward. You see, for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, the audience is quiet. And Sarah takes them on the journey through her poem, but there's this tension that's built up because it's such an unusual introduction to a speech that you can sense the audience early on wondering, what is this going to be about? Is this going to be interesting? Is this poem going to be good? Where is this going? How long is it going to be? She creates this bit of tension and then she delivers. She knocks it out of the park. The poem is beautiful. It's so well presented. It's flawless. And that's what caused the entire audience to stand up and give her that incredibly well-deserved ovation. But again, high risk, high reward, but Sarah did something unique. I'm lucky enough to attend my local Toastmasters club with my father-in-law, and he did something pretty original and unique the last time he delivered a speech. He came up to the front of the room and the audience was clapping for him, and when they stopped, he encouraged them to keep clapping. And the Toastmasters Club continued to clap, but they were kind of wondering, like, what's going on? I mean, is this guy just a complete narcissist that he wants us to keep clapping for him? But after that second round of applause was completed, he said, "That is for mothers." And he continued to give a speech about his mom and his experience growing up and how powerful his mother's love was. And it was a powerful introduction. He created that little bit of tension. He did something unique to start a speech with a powerful introduction, and it resulted in the audience paying attention throughout his entire speech. So even if you're not a poet, there is creative ways to do something unique. Perhaps you could sing a song. That is something people are not used to. Perhaps you could freestyle rap. Perhaps you could do a magic trick. I don't know what your skill set is, but there are many ways to capture the audience's attention. But what I want to challenge you to do is take the opportunity when you get to the front of the audience and you are about to start your speech, avoid the typical boring introduction. Try something that's out there, and I hope that a lot of these tips resonate with you. But I don't just want you to take my word for it. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that I had the chance to chat with the 2015 world champion of public speaking, Muhammad Khatani, and in this clip, I'm going to watch it with you. Muhammad talks about the power of introductions and why they're so essential to starting your speech the right way.
So if you ask yourself or ask any one of the listeners how many presentations you've been through or how many speeches you've attended, a lot, hundreds, right? And if you go through all of them, you will notice that they all start the same way. Hi, my name is so and so, and today I'll be speaking about this and that. You know, the same introduction that we all got used to. Problem with that is because you got used to it, your brain already skips. Before you even introduce who you are, you need to grab the attention of the audience first.
There you have it, a Toastmasters champion agreeing with this concept that you need to grab your audience's attention right from the start. A final bonus tip for you is when it comes to conclusions, because I think one of the most powerful ways to end any speech is by coming full circle. And I think it's so powerful if you mention what was discussed in the intro as part of your outro as well, the introduction and then the conclusion. For example, if you set a powerful stat at the beginning, toward the end of your speech, repeat that same statistic, but now you have the context of the full speech and you can sum it up with a nice conclusion of whatever you've just taught your audience. And you can do this with the story. You can take a line from that story, repeat it toward the end. You can do this with the question. If you started your speech with a question, you can repeat that question at the end, or even with the unusual, powerful introduction, something unique. So if it was poetry, you could end with a line of poetry as well. But making your speech come full circle is one of the best ways to come across as a complete pro. I hope this video has helped you generate some great ideas of how you can take future speeches to the next level by introducing powerful introductions and hooking the audience right from the beginning. If this is your first time landing on my channel, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please subscribe to this channel and check out some of the other video content I have. And if you're looking to improve your public speaking skills and you want to hire me as a one-on-one coach, I'm open to it. Send me an email. The email information is in the YouTube show notes. But once again, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll catch you on the next one.